Hi, Mr. Hartman.
See, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So, how are you? Do you have any questions off the bat?
Um, about the test or just in general?
Why don't we start with that last test? How about that?
Okay. Hold on a second. Let me pull that up. Um, yes. um, sorry, my computer's being slow today.
Oh, you just kind of
Yeah.
exited by, I noticed.
Um, yeah, because I was on my computer, because our system had to like boot up, and so I was
Oh,
like,
really?
didn't want to be late.
Okay.
So, then this worked. So,
I'm gonna get your test also. So, um,
okay. Here, I can redo on Blue Jeans and just not like have my camera on.
okay.
Um, yeah. So.
You see it in front of you?
Mhm.
Okay. You want to look at vocabulary?
Sure.
So,
Um.
what do you think happened with responsible, to blame, for example?
Um. I couldn't like remember what the word was. And so I kind of guessed.
Yeah.
Um. Like I did that question last because I knew it started with a pie, but I couldn't remember what it was.
And actually, it doesn't start with with a P, right?
Yeah.
What's the word responsible or to blame?
Um,
Starts
I
with an
still don't remember.
starts with an L.
Um, it does.
Yeah.
Oh,
English
that
an
was.
English derivative is etiology. I don't know if you remember that. Um, AE or Etiology. Etiology.
Yeah.
So the word is itios, itia, ition. You
Oh,
remember
okay.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. So probably it's a good idea to just think about what the let me just try to turn this off. 1 minute. Do you hear me?
Yes.
You can,
Yes.
but I can't hear you when I do that. But I can hear my own voice going echoing for some reason. Wonder how I stop that. Um,
I don't know.
can you say something now?
Hi.
Yeah, when I do that, I can't hear you. Wonder how. Wonder what it. Oh, so I guess maybe can you you know where it says mute speaker?
Yeah.
Um.
All of mine is muted on my
Oh.
computer. That is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um. Anyway, it's fine. I don't mind hearing my own echo. Um. So I guess the bigger question is, so with tests, which which always kind of cover 2 chapters worth. How do you study for vocabulary, for example, for something like that?
For vocab, I study the same way I do for the quizzes. I use the lists that I make that I showed you last time we met for extra help. Um, and I cover them like I cover the Greek words in like a different color so I can't see them, and then I write them out. And then if I get them wrong, I erase them and redo them.
Okay.
So I just do that the same way I normally do.
And
Um,
what's your sort of fail safe? What's your fail safe or safety net for words that are just like stubborn, that don't, they're almost
um,
they're really 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 hard to remember. Do you have a fail safe or?
No.
So
Like,
was ITOS one of those words for you? Were you sort of just having trouble with
yeah.
remembering ITOS? It wasn't clicking
Yeah.
because
I also just tried to find the list that it's on, so I can see like how many times it took me to remember
oh
it.
yeah, check that out. I'm curious to see that.
Yeah. Actually, it's the last list I checked. It was on the second try that I got it. Right before the test.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I don't know what the solution is to that. I mean, there are always going to be words that you just blank on. That's life. That's going to
yeah.
happen. Totally fine. But I don't want you to get flustered during a test like that, and just not be able to and feel badly about um, uh, getting more than a few wrong like that. So for responsible, yeah, that's itios. You got the messenger right, but then I persuade. You knew it started with a P, but you chose proschoreo.
Yeah, I mixed up words. I know, like it's right in front of me. It means I approach, but
Okay,
I
right.
mixed them up.
And you got that totally right because you even remembered the dative and everything. But what's the word to persuade? What are the principal parts?
I know it is in Latin. It's like it's not persuadeo. That's what it is in Latin. But
Right.
hmm.
Patho,
Oh yeah,
patho,
yeah,
patho, epesa.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, but I'm trying to, think of ways to, if you have a little kind of hook for the word, like that. Sometimes derivatives are good like that. They can make you connect the English word to the Greek word, even though it's not like a definition of the word. But like itios, is there any crazy kooky way for you to remember what that is? Like I don't know what I'm trying to think. Even if it's a little silly, like itios means to blame. So you say, I don't know, make up a silly phrase that somehow has something to do with blame that sounds like itios. That works for some people. Like,
yeah.
trying to think. Can you think of one? Like itios, the first syllable sounds like the pronoun I. So you
Yeah, like
think of an example like, uh, I don't know. Sometimes it's harder to come up with one on the spot. Um,
yeah. Yes. I blame us. ITS,
oh,
kind
that's a
of.
good one. I blame us. I blame us, itios. Itios, I blame us. They have the same number of syllables. I mean, anything like that is a big help, actually. If you can connect a silly phrase or, I don't know, you know, anything like that will help you. So I would suggest thinking about that for words that you worry might be a problem. With patho, I persuade. I mean, I wonder if there's a better way to remember that one too. Because it sounds like so that technique that you and I talked about writing the words out, using your vocab sheets and writing the words out, that works awesome for writing, for making sure the spelling is correct. Because I see that on your test, you spelled proskoreo perfectly. It's exactly right. You got the spelling down, no problem. But it was just the matching together of the word with the meaning. Um, here's another thing. Um, how much time do you spend with your flashcards?
My flashcards. I don't really use them in studying. Yeah.
You've been
I
spending your
kind of
time.
just use the list that I make.
Yeah. Okay. one of the reasons why I make you draw pictures on the flashcards is because that's another way to connect the word in your brain to the meaning. And I don't think that you should use your flashcards extensively, because you do need to know how to spell the word. That's what we talked about the last time. But if you use the flashcards and look at the pictures that you draw, you will have you will be reading the you will be writing, because that's what you do anyway with your sheets. You'll be seeing the thing and you'll be seeing the picture. That's three different ways that your brain is going to engage the word. That's putting you at a much better advantage to remembering the meaning of the word. So I would suggest, I don't think you should use the flashcards to death, honestly, but I think if you use the flashcards with those pictures and look at the pictures, especially if they're a little silly, that's a good way to remember. That's a good way to connect the meaning to the word.
Okay.
Some words won't have pictures, like, I don't know, eti. I don't know how you do a picture for eti, or uketi or something like that, or nun. But other words, as you know, whatever you can make a little silly picture of will be great. And think of anything like angelos. What was it? What's a good way to remember angelos? You got it right, but can you think of?
Angel? Or,
Yeah,
yeah, like
it's
angel.
that's a derivative too, and it's perfect. I mean, that's what an angel is, a messenger. That's where the word comes from. So, I mean, that's perfect. So anything like that. Now, what about out of?
Out of,
What did you do
like,
there?
there was this little, I think I spelled the part after the slash. I know I spelled that wrong. That kind of threw me off when I was studying, because there were two words that meant the same thing. Um, yeah, I think so.
You talking about echo?
Yeah, like the second principal part has
Two
two.
possibilities. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's echo, hexo with a rough breather, and
Yes.
scheso. So I think you were probably thinking of that.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Um, let's look at any other questions about vocabulary?
No.
Vocab is kind of tough. I mean, there are all sorts of different ways of, I don't know, thinking techniques for memorizing them. Like, you're going to have this issue with the exam, right?
Yeah.
Um, have you started studying early for quizzes and the test?
Yeah, I start studying, like, if it's on Tuesday, I start on Sunday.
Okay.
Um doing it. The Thursday ones are harder to start earlier for, because I don't want to mix them up with the Tuesday ones. Um
Yeah.
so I
Right.
typically just I typically just do that one on Wednesday, but they're also usually shorter, so that's pretty much okay.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, I can see that you don't want to do them all at the same time, or do them and confuse yourself with the different words. So why don't we look at the forms? It looks like you did anthropos perfectly well. Now let's look at hodespotes.
Yeah. That one threw me off, I think, while I was studying too. Let me look. Oh, that one. Sorry. Um, yeah, that threw me off on the studying for it as well.
Okay. Which class does it belong to?
The third one.
Yep. And both of those ones, so you had hodespotes, and what's the other one?
Hawaiianias.
Oneanias, the young man. They both do the same exact thing with the genitive singular. What is it? So what is the correction for that genitive there?
It's an Omicron Upsilon.
Right.
Not.
Hodespotu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. it's the only one. It's the only first declension class that does that ever. And a good way to remember it is the fact that these are all masculine. These first declension nouns in that class, right? Every one of them is masculine. And so if you just try to connect in your head that because they're masculine, there's an exception, and you use the second declension ending for the genitive, like ho agros tu agru. It's ho despotes tu despotu. Just like it's actually just like the article.
Okay.
The ending will be u. Okay, so that might be a good way to remember that. And the accent issue, that's just an irregular accent. It's despota, but it's irregular. The other
So
other
where does the accent go?
it goes on the antepenult.
Okay.
Yeah, on the epsilon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I would say make the correction for despotes. Put for the genitive singular. Put to despotu.
Mhm.
And so when you go back and study using this test, you can you'll see the correction.
Mhm.
All right. Should we move on to phileo, number 3?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, I flipped them for
You just
the.
switch the two.
Yeah.
Okay. Now why did you do that during the test?
I don't know exactly. For some reason, I thought that they were switched.
When you when you do when you
Yeah.
go through them when you go through them when you study verb forms, do you, like with Latin, do you go amo, amas, amat? Do you do it out loud?
No.
Or do you write them out?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I do it kind of the same way I do it for the vocab, is I
Yeah.
write them all out and then I cover it and then I write them, and if I get them wrong, then I erase it and do it again.
And do you ever have occasion to do you ever have a reason to put them in a different order?
No, I don't know why I flipped them, but
Okay. Because I'm trying to think when I do my verb forms, I do them out loud. I sometimes write them out when I was studying Latin or Greek, but I would say them and in the order, and so the pattern, the sound I would remember the sound. I would remember amo, amas, amat, amamas, amatas, amat, and somehow that helped me. But I would also write them out. I would do both.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
looking at the when I covered it and wrote it out, I flipped it on that accidentally and didn't catch myself.
Oh, really?
So that. Oh my god. Yeah.
That might have been what happened. Okay, but
Yeah.
I'm impressed by the fact that for the imperative, like the singular imperative, you got the accent right. You were one of the people who got it right. Not everybody got that right. You knew to write phile and then filet. That was good. Same thing for the plural. So that's something to be happy about. Okay. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should we move on to the sentences?
Sure.
All right. Do you have any questions about numbers 1 and 2?
Let's see. I couldn't remember. So I wrote particularly instead of still.
Oh yeah. Was that a vocab thing?
Escaped me. Yes. I
Okay.
forgot what eti meant.
Okay.
So I went with particularly.
All right.
Still.
Now let me ask you a question. Do you with Latin has vocab been kind of a sore spot for you over the years?
Kind of. Initially it was. And then now it's not as much of an issue.
And you're in Latin 4 or 3 or which one?
I'm in honors Latin 4.
Okay. That's not the AP course, is it?
No, AP. I'll probably do that next year.
Okay.
Yeah, we do AP senior year.
Oh yeah, all right. And so are you still memorizing vocab for Latin?
Not
Yeah.
as much. A lot of it's review.
Okay. Do you tend to have as much vocab? Do you have quizzes on vocab of the same amount or similar amount as Greek?
They're on more words, but they're all familiar pretty much,
The
except for
review.
maybe a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like we had a vocab quiz today. We're translating Caesar, or not Caesar, Cicero. And so we had a quiz on like the glossed words.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And do you have to give the four principal parts and
No, it's meaning only.
oh, meaning only. Okay. So it's a lot different. In Greek, I mean, to have to give philo, a phileso, a philesa, and trecho, dramumai, edramon, that's kind of a different beast, isn't it?
Yeah, freshman year I had a different teacher, and for Latin, and he would make us go both directions on vocab quizzes. So I've had to remember principal parts before, but with my current teacher, she doesn't make us memorize principal parts.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I guess I've set the bar kind of high with the Greek vocab. Um, anyway, I believe that you can do it. I think it's knowing yourself and knowing your habits, the way your mind works is a big help with vocab. I'm just thinking that, you know, vocab was the only issue that you had with number one, right? It was just about remembering eti, and I'm just wondering to what extent. I'm just looking at the rest of your sentences here. You had a few small things with labeling, and then there might have been a couple of other vocab issues too. Like the English to Greek had a few things. We'll get to that in a minute. But actually, your sentences were I don't know. They're not awful at all. They're quite good. Yeah, they're not bad. Let's look at number two because you had some labeling things there.
Yeah.
Why did you not put anything above aner?
I'm not entirely sure. I think because I thought that the sentence already had one subject.
Okay.
I think that had a lot to do with it, but a sentence can have two subjects. Don't know why I didn't label it.
Okay.
And then for jalapeno, I thought because isti was an infinitive, it wouldn't be a predicate adjective. I thought it wouldn't be an
Actually, I didn't mark wrong infinitive because isti's not an infinitive, is it?
Oh, no, it's not.
It's actually what?
It's an imperative, right?
Right. Imperative. Anyway, I didn't mark that wrong, so you got under the wire there, but that's fine. But yeah, that's an imperative. Yeah, okay. What is jalepe? What would the label be on it?
Predicate adjective is what we said in class.
Yep, exactly. Okay. Predicate adjective. Good. So that was what you had there. Let's look at number 3. 1 point taken off. What?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be but I wrote and. I just used the wrong definition of day.
Yeah. You understand why?
Day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why. Otherwise, I wouldn't care that you put and. Mende though makes it blah 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 but, right? That's the only thing about that. All right, let's look at number 4.
Okay.
So what about Dunaton?
That would be a subject, but I think maybe because it didn't have an article, I just didn't notice it.
No, it wouldn't be a subject actually.
Oh, okay.
Look at the Greek look at the Greek sentence and try to translate it again. Try not to look down below.
So they walk slowly. Or they carry heavy, very heavy water jars, or large water jars. And um, so they do not walk quickly. So it's not possible to walk quickly.
And it is not possible to walk quickly?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is not possible. So what's dunaton?
Oh,
The word is dunatos, dunate, dunaton.
it's a direct object.
No. Dunatos, dunate, dunaton.
It's
What part of speech is it? Noun, pronoun, adjective, preposition?
an adjective.
Yep, it's an adjective. Yeah. And you see esti there,
Predicate adjective?
the predicate adjective. Yeah,
Okay.
because the esti there, that's your linking verb.
Mm-hmm. And what would tracheos be?
Tacheos, yeah. I want you to tell me.
Oh, it modifies walking, so it would be an adverb, and so
It's an adverb. It's just like, what's the other one? You had another one in the sentence too. Adverb.
bradeos.
Right, the opposite of tacheos. You have the two in the sentence. So, yeah, you don't have to write anything on top of tacheos because it's an adverb. And so, yeah, so the PA should have gone on top of dunaton instead of tacheos. Okay, all right. Let's see here. Any other questions about number 4?
No.
All right, what about number 5?
I wrote many women instead of other women.
Okay.
And I think that was a vocab issue.
Okay. Did you not remember that alos, ale, Allah meant other?
I thought it meant many instead of other. So
Okay.
I just probably used the words again.
All right. What is the word for many?
Polus.
Yep. Can you give the whole nominative?
Polu.
All right. Polus, pole, polu. And do you remember how to decline polus, pole, polu? I'm not going to make you do the whole thing, but what's the trick?
Yeah. It's 4 corners.
4 corners. What about the 4 corners?
They only have 1 lambda, but everything else has 2.
Good. All right, then you got it. All right, let's look at number 6.
Okay. I have labeling issues with direct objects and transitive verbs versus imperatives.
All right, so what's poieta?
It's a transitive verb.
All right. I understand completely why you put imperative there. I mean, it looks like an imperative, right? I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
In fact, it's exactly the same form as the imperative, but actually, it's the what?
It's it's second person? No.
Yeah.
That would be Oh.
Second person. Singular. Or
Singular?
plural?
Oh,
No.
plural.
Plural. Yep. Poies would be singular, so poieta is plural. Yep. And you did the same thing, I guess, with echete. It's just a regular second person plural verb. And okay, and then the subject there, when that's tosautas hydrias is direct object. Okay, you got so many right. A lot of people got tosautas wrong, but you remembered that it was so many. That's good. Here's an example of a silly phrase to remember what a word is. So, tosutos, tosautes, tosuta. Did I say this in class? What the silly way to remember it is? I don't take credit for this because it was students 2 years ago who um, they were saying that it reminds them of, that corn chip Tostitos,
Yeah.
and you can't just
Yeah.
have one. You have to have a ton of them. So you have to have so many of them, right? You have to have many, many, many of them. And so that's the way they remember
Quite
Tostitos. They never
clever.
forgot it. What?
That's
Yeah,
actually really clever.
yeah, things like that. It's actually worth the mental effort to come up with a crazy little phrase, or way to remember it. Um, but it works. It worked for them. All right. Um, and then why are you working? I
Instead
didn't
of
take.
what
Oh, I didn't.
are you doing? Yeah.
Right. T can mean why, but poieo means to do more than to work. What's the verb to work?
Um, it's Paneo.
Oh, yep. Okay. All right. Let's look at number 7.
I mixed up the. It's the same
It's
word.
the same word. What is the
Oh,
nominative?
the
What is the nominative plural for that word?
Udria.
Nominative plural?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Who? Dri? The
Yes. Hi,
A.
who, hi, who did I? Okay. All right. Good. Now let's look at. I see another thing that I didn't mark wrong. And number 7. What do you tell
Oh.
me? What in the labeling zone? Can you tell me what I didn't mark wrong? And it's actually not quite right. It's actually more than not
Mm,
quite right. It's definitely not
oh.
right.
E- Ehomen is supposed to
Yes.
be translated.
Good. I'm glad you said it and not me. Um, I should just regrade this whole thing. No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that. But yeah, that should be TV because it's
Yeah.
even taking a direct object right in front of both of our noses here, and neither of us,
Yeah.
neither of us got the TV. Anyway, all right. So let's look at the best all these wonderful English to Greek sentences, the two of them. I know these are hard, so
Yeah.
what do you think of what's your what so this is where vocab and everything comes together, right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
no hiding. There's no hiding behind anything with these things. It's like do or die. And what do you do for Latin with the same types of sentences? Do you have English to Latin sentences that
We
you have to
don't
do?
have these
You
kind of
don't?
sentences. No.
Wow. Wow. You should thank your teacher for not for not making you do such horrible things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you never had to in Latin?
Once last year we had a project where we had to write a letter, but we
Oh,
never got them back.
you never got
She
them
just
back?
didn't grade them.
It was too painful for
No.
her. She couldn't do it.
Apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, apparently.
So is this
Um,
experience of writing from English to Greek that you have to do?
yeah.
I hope on a regular basis in my class because I think that's the best way to learn the
Yeah.
stuff. It's a relatively new. Do you find it hard?
Yeah, it's really hard for me.
Okay.
Because, like, I know where they're supposed to go, and if I remember the words, and, like, I know generally, like, what case things are supposed to be, like, direct object's supposed to be, accusative and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah.
It's hard.
A
I
lot
know.
of it's vocab,
A lot
so.
of it's vocab. This is where the vocab really gets tough. So let's look at number 8. We no longer hear. Do you have the answers in front of you or what?
I have my test, and I wrote some stuff on it when we went over it in class.
Oh, okay.
But I don't have the whole answer.
All right. So we no longer So Meketi, you just spelled it wrong. You knew the word, but you just forgot that it was an eta instead of an epsilon at the beginning.
Yeah.
Uh, and actually, Oh no, I'm sorry. No, it's not even meketi. It's
It's supposed to
what's
be uketi.
uketi? Yeah, uketi. Meketi's only used for what?
Um, I don't know exactly.
Meketi's only used. Well, when do you use may instead of oo or ook? Do you remember? You did it
No,
right in
I
number
don't.
9. You did it right in number 9. You used may correctly.
Oh, it's only with an imperative.
Yeah, with imperatives or infinitives or whatever, anything except the indicative. You use ook with the indicative. You use may with everything else. And so you needed uketi for that number 8 because there's just an indicative verb, no imperative. So
Mhm.
that's the way that works. And then akuo, right? Akuo. Um,
Yeah.
what? There were two little mistakes you made with that word. What are the two things?
Is there not supposed to be a circumflex?
Right? There's not supposed to
Um,
be a circumflex. Actually, three things then. Sorry.
it's okay. I didn't put a breather on it.
Oh, four things then. Okay. You're noticing all these things that I didn't notice before.
um, that accent's supposed to go on the first upsilon.
Okay. How do you
Uh,
spell this word though? Because there's no first upsilon.
oh, okay.
You actually don't have an upsilon in the first syllable.
Okay. It's just alpha then, right?
It's just alpha. Think of the English derivative acoustics. Acoustics, just an A. It's just an A-K-O-U. Anyway, but what's the other problem with there was that spelling issue, but there's another bigger spelling issue.
Is there not supposed to be an upsilon with the ending?
Not with the ending.
Um,
You remember what the first principal part is?
Akuo, right?
Yep,
Oh,
exactly.
did I put the letters?
Yeah. Well, you have
Yeah.
the stem is aku, right?
Okay.
But
Mhm.
your endings are o, ace, a. You know, the usual endings. O, ace, a, amen, ete, usi.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
you had to write we here. So you want
Yeah.
aku, amen. You need to have the
Yeah.
u, but that's part of the verb, not part of the ending. It's
Yeah.
aku, amen. Not an
Mhm.
eo verb or anything like that. All right. I think you
Yeah.
understand. And what's the problem with ton, pelus, dulus? Two problems, really.
No problem.
Actually, your accents are correct.
That's good. It uses the accusative, right?
No,
Akuo. It doesn't. It uses
no,
dative.
no.
No.
Akuo uses the genitive when it's
Uh,
when you're hearing people. When you're hearing people, you use the genitive. When you're hearing things, you use the accusative. So if you hear
uh,
rocks falling, you use the accusative. But if you're hearing slaves, then you use the genitive. So do you have your answer there?
yeah.
Okay, so
Did I
tone,
not say?
polone, dulone. Oh, your other mistake was just the ton. You want to make that had to be genitive plural, or it had to be plural, not just genitive, not just singular. And you made it singular over here. But ento agro was really good.
Yeah.
Prepositional phrase.
Yeah.
But so you understand tone, polone, dulone now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions about number 8?
Uh-uh.
What about number 9?
Um, I used the wrong word for take.
Okay.
Um, And then I used the wrong endings for knife.
Okay. Oh, you did?
I think so.
Looks like you got knife correct. Machaidan. That's correct.
Yeah, I used the wrong article. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The wrong
It's
article. So
supposed
what?
to be Tane instead
Yep.
of Taunt.
Okay. Megalane.
Hmm.
That seems to me right. I don't think that's wrong.
Um,
Because it is
you said
feminine. This word is feminine.
mm-hmm.
Megalane. So I think you're correct about that. What did you write in your answer though when we went over it? Did you write Megalane?
I think that there's like I didn't get to finish writing out the answer. What I had was May Lambane Tane Megalane.
Okay, Megalane is correct.
Yeah.
So you
And
didn't
it had to do with my breather.
the
My
accent?
video. Yeah.
No, the accent's correct. Everything's correct.
Yeah.
I think so. I made a mistake with that. So I made some mistakes in your favor, and I made this mistake not in your favor. So should we call it a wash?
Yeah.
Okay. But make sure, I don't know, on your version of this test, get rid of the circle around Megalane because Megalane's correct.
Okay.
And so it'll be Tain Megalane Machairan. Your word for Machairan is correct too. So and you know about the accent for despota. All right. Um, okay. Well, how do you feel about this test? What's your sort of, what do you take away from it at the end?
Like, I don't know. I think that I know what I need to work on before the exam.
Yeah,
And, like, I thought it was kind of hard when I took it.
yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I wasn't displeased with how I did. Um, yeah.
Okay, I'm not displeased either. I don't think it's I don't think it's in any way, deficient or anything like that. You had a few little things. I think you're still getting used to studying Greek because Greek is pretty different from Latin. I think your Latin helps your Greek though.
Yeah.
You have a leg up with Greek than you would have if you just started without Latin. Um, but I think with the English to Greek sentences, for example, yeah, your vocab. I mean, there's no getting around, dealing with vocab. Um, and I think I put on the assignments in e-college to start studying for the exam now. I think I put on e-college like even for last Wednesday to study chapter 1. Did you
Yeah.
see that? Were you able to do a little bit of that?
I looked over it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've also been prepping for my 5 other Severin exams.
You have 5
So,
other?
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
You're taking 5
So,
classes plus this class?
I have 7 classes,
How do you
but my
how do you do
art
that?
class doesn't have an exam, so.
Oh my God. I didn't realize you had so many classes. Wow, that's a lot. Um, you have 6 academic classes.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. Your academic dean didn't have a problem, or your advisor didn't have a problem with your taking a 6th academic class?
No, some people here do take 6 academic classes. They just don't take art as well, but I'm taking art
You're
too.
taking art. Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, next semester I'm not taking art, so I'll have 2 free periods instead of 1.
Okay, but you'll still take 6 academics.
Mhm.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Are you taking Greek next year?
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see now. Well, do you have a lot? Then you have a lot on your plate. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm
I have
amazed
to do theater outside
you
of
do
school.
theater too. You have the plays and you go to the
Well,
rehearsals.
yeah. Yeah, I'm in charge of my school's tech group. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I'm very impressed. I'm amazed you can keep it all together. You must have very little free time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have much free time.
Well, in that case, that's a lot. That puts things into context. Um,
Yeah.
your, I, yeah, I think that your work on this test and on things in general is pretty excellent. Given this the little time that you have, I'm not quite sure how you would step it up and do more. I mean, maybe you could study a little bit more smartly. We've talked a little bit about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Try to find whatever techniques work to study vocab for you.
Yeah.
We've talked a bunch about that, like the writing out, um, tagging word phrases to vocab words that help you remember the meaning of the word. But I don't know. I mean, if you're doing if you're spending the time to do those English to Greek sentences like for homework, um,
Yeah.
that we do, and feel like you're giving it a good amount of effort, then that's kind of what you need to do. I don't know that I would make you do more. I wouldn't ask you to do more than that, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's otherwise it's a lot. So, what's the biggest thing that you're sort of concerned about going into the exam?
Um, the amount of content on it. Probably mostly vocab.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Have you been keeping up with all the screencasts?
Yeah.
Okay. And are they helpful? Do you find them helpful?
Yeah. I feel like they explain the grammar well, which is
Okay.
nice. Yeah.
Um, and did you have a chance to look at the study guide for the exam?
Yeah. It's here. Let me pull it up. Yeah. Um, I went. I printed it out. So
Okay.
yeah. This, this is okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's really helpful with like having like everything kind of
Yeah.
condensed, showing like what screencasts do what and stuff.
Yeah. Um, I think I would make sure that you understand. I would maybe, is there, you know, are there any of these topics like the pronouns, for example, ego and su and autos, aute, auta? Are you fuzzy on any of those things?
Um, Maybe a little on the declensions of them. Like I know what each of them are, but
Yeah.
and I understand how aute, saute, auton works grammatically. But I think the declensions, like I just need to sit down and like memorize them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would suggest watching the screencasts again for those three screencasts about ego and su and autos. That might be helpful. In class on, was it Friday? I think you had a question about autos, when it's used as an adjective, not as a pronoun.
Yeah.
You remember what that was?
Maybe how can you tell? I don't remember my exact question. Um, I think it was like how can you tell?
Okay.
Maybe.
So when it's an adjective, it means,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember, in Latin, ipsa, ipsa, ipsum? You remember that adjective? The intensive adjective? It's just like that. If you want to say the field itself, how would you say that in Greek? The field itself.
Call gross autos. Would you put it
That's
in
right.
the predicate
And the
position.
predicate position, exactly. Good. Then that's what I wanted to make sure that you understood, because that's a hard thing to remember. Predicate position. So do you understand predicate position and attributive position?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't understand. Like, I understand the difference. I don't necessarily understand like why they work the way they work.
Oh, there's no
um,
real reason. They just do. I mean, I think with the attributive, explain the attributive position to me, just the position, just like how it works.
um, it's in between the article and the noun.
Okay, that's all you need to know. That's it. That's everything. And the predicate position.
The predicate goes after the noun.
Okay, or not so much after, but
Um, Next to it, like not in
it
the
can't.
middle of.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It can't go in the middle. It can go in the
Yeah.
front. It can go on the other side. It can go anywhere up above. I don't know. It can't go inside. It just can't go inside.
Okay.
Um, but there's a little catch about the predicate position um, that I wonder if you remember. A little like nuance to it. Like the attributive position's easy. You say the big field or the long
Yeah.
field. You say ho macros agros. That's nice and easy. But you can say ho agros macros in the predicate position, and it can change the meaning. It can what can happen? I don't know if you remember this
Um,
detail.
I'm looking at my notes. It implies like is. So if it's
Yep.
the dog is fluffy or something.
Exactly. Exactly. You can all of a sudden have a sentence when you didn't before. Wait, instead of just saying the big field, you can say the field is big
Mm-hmm.
just by putting it outside the article and the noun, the adjective outside the article and the noun. So that's an
Okay.
important little detail about predicate position, and that's going to show up on the exam too. But
Okay.
there was another thing about autos, though. So, and when it means the dog itself, you say hakuon agros. Autos.
Yeah.
But then that's in the predicate position. So that's how that works. But what happens when you put autos in the attributive position?
It
What
means
if you
the
say,
same, right?
okay, yep, then you
Like
remember
the
that.
same dog, like in the homework.
Exactly. Yeah, okay, good. Then you understand. So that's a big deal for autos to know the difference between the position and the meaning, because it's a huge difference between the
Yeah.
same and the dog itself. So, all right, if you understand that, you're going to be okay. Are you okay with alpha contract verbs and how to conjugate them?
They work the same as epsilon contract verbs, right?
Um, not exactly. You want to do some on the screen right now?
Sure. I can also find my notes from the screencast because I take notes on them.
All right.
Um, yeah. Oh, okay. Now I get it. Yeah. There's there's more omegas with circumflexes. It's whenever it's next to an omicron or an omega that it's omega circumflex.
Okay.
And when it's next to epsilon iota, it does the circumflex iota subscript thing.
Yep. Okay. Anytime there's an iota involved in the ending, you wind up with a iota subscript, and it still stays alpha. Okay.
Mm.
So that will be on the exam. So to be able to do the pre-contracted and then the
Mm-hmm.
contracted form. Um,
Okay.
I'm gonna try something right now. Hold on, just one second. Uh, let's see here. Okay.
How many classes do Hopkins kids take, like, on average?
They
Just
take
curious.
5.
Okay, total?
Yeah. They yeah, so they can do 6, but they have to get special permission to do 6 academic courses, and they never ever
Got
ever can take 7
it. We
because
have
yeah
7 periods. Well, not
yeah
we have 5 a day, but we take there's 7. You can have the capability to take 7 classes if you wanted.
wow wow. And
Uh,
is that typical?
no. Um, you have to take 5 academics, and then most people take an art and have a free period or a study hall. Um, it depends on your grade, though. If
Okay.
you have um, study hall, if you get a C, you're in study hall, and if you get anything above a C, you're in free period.
Oh yeah. Okay. um and I mean, our minimum, you have to have 4 courses
Mm-hmm.
minimum. You can't go below that. And you can't, and that's the minimum. 5 is the maximum. And with special permission, you can do 6 academic courses. You can do 5 academic courses plus an art and make 6, just like what you said that I think before. But you can't do 6 academic courses and then add an art to that. That's not. It's yeah. We only have 6. No, we only have 6 periods in the day anyway. And they're
So we have
55 minutes.
5,
Okay.
and they're an hour.
Oh, they're an hour. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I've shared with you a Google Doc. Did you see it?
Yeah, I have it.
So, okay, good. So why don't you change your keyboard to Greek and conjugate the verb. I don't know. Let's conjugate. Try not to look at anything either. Try to conjugate an ao verb. Um,
Okay. I'm gonna switch my computer because my Greek keyboard on my iPad is really weird.
oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Um, we only know about 3 ao verbs: timao, horao. And what's the other one? Is there a third? Maybe it's just 2.
Um.
I don't remember. Um, but anyway, timao's the one that they're always using. So maybe you should use. Why don't you conjugate horao, which means what?
Um. To see.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So why don't you conjugate that in the present tense? Give the 2 imperatives, but before you do the pre-contracted for the conjugation, and then do the contracted.
Okay.
Try to have fun doing this too.
I'm really slow at typing Greek, so this may
All
be.
right. That's all right. We have a few minutes. I do want you to get lunch, so we'll stop after you do that.
Yeah, I brought my lunch.
Oh.
Yeah, I have this thing that students call mega lunch.
Oh yeah.
Where your free period revolves around lunch because we have 2 different lunch periods that you have one depending on what class you have around lunch.
Oh.
So when your free period's around lunch, you can eat at either one.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have kids who have that problem too. Do you have 3 lunch waves? Or 2?
We have 2 high school ones and 1 middle school one.
Okay. It's like us. How many kids at your school?
Pre-K 3 through 12, about 800.
Oh, all right. Okay.
In the high school, about 490.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It ranges. We have a really big sophomore class, so it's bigger than it
All right.
usually is.
Oh, we know bawa'o also.
Okay.
You know what that means?
Um, walk, right?
What? Bawa'o?
Does it mean walk?
I think you're
No.
thinking of badidzo.
Yeah.
Or ba.
Hmm.
Bawa'o, it means to shout. So a good silly phrase, well, not phrase, when you shout, you might go blah like that. Bawa'o. So just think of that. But you're doing hora'o.
Yeah. I always forget how to do this one. Am I doing it right so far? Or no?
So the pre-contracted for the second, the first person singular looks like you are. I don't see an accent though. And your contracted form is not correct.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. Now it's correct. And where does your accent? Where's your accent in the pre-contracted for the first one? Yep. Now you got that. And yeah, what's the pre-contracted? Yep.
Yeah, and then
Is that the
this
second
one
person?
is.
Is that the second person singular you just did?
Yeah.
So what's the ending for the second person singular? I mean, even without the alpha, what's the ending?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Right, that's not right. It was like O and then OU.
No, it's just like with luo. What's your second person singular ending for luo?
Luis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you
Okay.
want. Yep. Good.
Is
Make sure you give an accent for the pre-contracted first person plural. Right.
okay.
So you're going to go back
And
and do all those contracted forms, right?
okay, are these all wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can wait. You can wait and do them after you do the pre-contracted. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Um. um,
This all looks very good. Two little things, second person plural and third person plural. Second person plural. Okay. All right. Also your breather on the second person plural.
It's I flipped it.
That's all right. All right. All right, good. This all looks very good. You remembered your iota subscripts, and you made long alpha. Yeah, this is all correct. I like it. Um, yeah, wonderful. All right. So why don't you do really quickly? Why don't you do the two imperatives in the same exact way? All right. So I see one mistake.
Um, oh, is the accent supposed to go on the anti-penal?
Uh,
On the
for the singular imperative.
yeah.
So do the pre-contracted one first. Get the accent for that one because that helps you with yeah.
Sorry, I have to look up how to do that again. I don't have it completely memorized.
Oh, you want to breathe a rough breather and an acute accent, right?
Yeah.
Use a Mac, right?
No, I have a PC.
Oh, you do. Oh,
Yeah, I have Dell
oh, I don't even know how to
computer.
do keyboard for the
I
PC.
had to Google it to figure it out, and so I just downloaded a PDF that tells me, so I look at that
Oh, really? Could you send that to me?
yeah.
I'd like to see it.
Sure.
'Cause other people have the same issue with PC.
Yeah.
Wait,
I started
here.
typing in my username in Greek.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
you're.
just Googled how to write on a Greek keyboard and
Oh, okay. Do you still need to correct your contracted form for the singular imperative?
oh, right, sorry. Um, would you put both accents? Would you just leave it as?
What do you mean leave it?
Would it be like? Oh, I'm in English. That would make sense. Would you do it like that?
You do it just like that. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks weird, doesn't it? But it's correct.
Okay.
And your other one is totally correct. Now do the infinitive, pre-contracted and contracted.
Okay. Um.
Don't forget your accent for the pre-contracted.
Oh, thank you. I don't know. I always forget. I've been forgetting that like all day today. Um. Um. Oh. Hmm. My internet has died. Hold on 1 second.
What died?
My internet briefly, like I think
Oh,
it
all right.
blipped. Google was like trying to connect, and I was like, Mm. I emailed you the thing, by the way.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm.
My like cheat thing of how to write Greek.
Oh, great. Thank you.
It says connecting.
Okay. Well, why don't you can just, what?
I can tell you.
You can tell me.
So Omicron with a rough breather, and then Rho alpha circumflex with the iota subscript. Nu.
No iota subscript.
No iota subscript.
It's an exception. No good reason. No good reason.
So
I'm sorry to tell you.
So the circumflex and the nu.
It's just an alpha with a circumflex and a nu. No,
Okay.
no. Oh, you just dropped out, or someone dropped out?
It's reconnecting because of
Oh, all
network
right.
issues. I'm plugged into the cord because our Wi-Fi is really slow today.
Oh, but you can see me and hear me, right?
Yeah, I can see you and hear you fine, but it's this thing. It's not happy.
Okay. Well, so what do you think? Anyway, that's an exception. Every other example of that verb of a verb with an ending with an iota has an iota subscript, except for the infinitive. You just have to remember the infinitive is an exception and put that somewhere else. But yeah, that's the only thing. Now, let me know, and I know is this week your exam week or next week your exam week?
Friday is my first exam, but I'm coming to class from home because my exam's in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, after we have like 2 exam like frames. So juniors and seniors go mostly in the afternoon, and freshmen and sophomores mostly go in the morning.
Okay.
But I have gone to my exam's in the morning, so.
Okay. You have 2 exams a day for the most part, or one?
No, just one. On Thursday I have 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Well, if you want to, if you have any questions as we get closer to the exam, you go through that study guide and then ask questions in class. But if you start feeling like you need some help before the exam, just email me and we can do this again. Okay?
Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, and my Latin teacher is also a classics major, and so she got really excited when I'm taking Greek. So
she didn't know that you were?
No, she knew, but she got really excited at the beginning of the year. So she offered to also help. So I'm meeting with her after my Latin exam, which is the day before our Greek exam.
Oh, good. Okay.
To, review. So hopefully, if I have trouble, I'll email you and we can do this again, maybe earlier in the week. And
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, whenever makes sense. And good. All right. Well, think about any questions you might have for class too, or we can meet and email me if you have any other questions too. All right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, you're very welcome. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.